Hello everyone, Michael O'Brien here, and today we're going to be answering some more of your questions with today's Q&A. Welcome everyone to another episode of Advice for Magicians, where of course the goal is to help you to take your magic to the next level. In today's episode, I wanted to do another Q&A. You guys are asking some amazing questions, and I think this is a segment that a lot of you guys actually enjoy. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have any questions about anything, if you have any suggestions for future videos, or if you guys just want to ask a question for me to answer on this channel. If it's something that I'm able to, I'll be more than happy to answer it. But feel free to ask questions on any of these videos anyway. Usually I will respond if I'm able to. I'll leave a comment response to your question, and then if it's something that I think needs some more clarification, or if it's something that I think would be very beneficial to talk about on the channel, I will do an actual Q&A video and address your question. But before we do that, just a couple of announcements. If you haven't already done so, please make sure to click the subscribe button and don't forget to ring the bell. That way you guys will know every time I upload a new video. Also keep in mind that this channel is sponsored by you. For just $1 a month, you guys will be able to access a bunch of awesome stuff, including tutorials, early access to videos, emojis, badges, and more. If you'd like to support the channel, all you got to do is just click the join button below and become a member, like these people did. So let's please give a nice warm welcome to Fifi, or is it Feifei? I apologize again, I'm always butchering your guys' names, even one that only has 3 letters in it. Mackie Vienna and CDN Patriot, or Pat Riot. Either way, thank you guys so much for joining. You are awesome, and thank you to all of my other Mob Squad members and all of my subscribers. You guys are amazing. It's because of you that I'm able to keep this channel going. So let's go ahead and dive into our questions. All right, our first question comes from Miami Magicians, who asks, have you ever had an inquiry for a gig at the same time you're supposed to be working at the magic shop? So let's just say you already booked a gig, or you already have work that day and you get an inquiry for another gig and you have a schedule conflict, right? So what do? Do you dodge out on the first gig to book the second one? You know, like what can I do with this? So first and foremost, once you have booked a gig, that gig is booked. You should not be backing out of it unless it's an emergency situation. And booking a more lucrative gig, in my opinion, doesn't constitute an emergency situation, right? Now, in my contracts, when I'm booking with clients, I have a clause in there that says if I'm not able to do the gig, that I can have a substitute step in my place. That way, worst case scenario, if my daughter is sick, or my car won't start, or something happens, I can ring up someone real quick and be like, hey, can you cover me for a gig today? And then they can go do the gig for me. But like I said, that's for like an emergency situation, right? You shouldn't be just like the day before being like, oh, sorry, I'm not going to do your show anymore because something more lucrative came along. So what can you do? Because it kind of sucks to give up all that money, right? What I personally like to do is, rather than just being like, sorry friend, I'm not available, click. What I like to do is get the information from them as if I'm going to book it, and then say, I just wanted to let you know that my calendar is already full for the time slot and the date that you were looking for. But what I can do is I can recommend a magician for you. Would you like me to give them your information and have them give you a ring? And they'll say yes, like 9 times out of 10, because they don't want to have to go look for a magician. Like if you're just going to give them another magician, then you can do that. So what I'll do is I'll say, okay, do me a favor. Let me just have like a little while, maybe in like 30 minutes or so, you'll hear from someone, and you can take it from there, right? So I hang up from that person, and then I reach out to the pool of magicians that I have that I regularly do shows with. These are magicians that I'm good friends with, people that I can trust, that I know are reliable. We swap gigs back and forth. He's always giving me a gig, I'm always giving him one, right? So I'll ring those people up and I'll see who's available that day. Richard, are you available for this gig? David, are you available for this gig? You know, Ian, are you available for this gig? I'll reach out to these people and I'll ask if they're available. If they are available, I'll give them the details. I'll say this is the client's budget, this is the venue, this is the type of magic that they're looking for. It's a cocktail event, for like a company holiday party, blah, 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 right? You tell them what all the rates and everything are, and then what I will normally do is request that they give me a 15% kickback. Basically, like, you know, that way I'm not losing out money on this too. Because if I'm going to pass you a $1,200 gig, you should give me a little bit of sugar on top of that, right? And so they'll send you like $150 or whatever. So that way it's not a total loss. Obviously, it's not the $1,200 that I was after. But if I already booked like that $800 gig, I just turn the $800 gig into a $950 gig, right? Just for simply giving my information to someone else. Now, when Richard is not able to do a gig, he's going to call me up and be like, hey, Mike, thanks for passing me that gig the other day. I have one that I can't do now. Would you like it? Are you available? And now we're trading shows, and we're keeping that money in our circle of friends, right? That way we're all helping each other out. This is something that I recommend you do. I recommend networking with other magicians, right, in your area, and passing gigs along to them. If you're not able to do them, pass gigs along to them. Now, like I said, you need to make sure that this is someone that you can depend on, someone that's reliable. If you pass a gig along to another magician that you don't know, and at the last second they cancel, it's going to look really bad on you because you recommended that person, right? So make sure that it's someone that you're comfortable with, someone you've worked well with before, someone that you know personally, or at the very least, vet this person, check out their website, check out their reviews, all of that stuff, to make sure that you are passing that information along to someone that you know that you can trust, that's going to treat the gig the same way that you would if you were going to do it. Because, let me tell you, there has been countless times that a client wanted to book me, I wasn't available, so I passed the gig off to someone else. They did the show, everything went amazing, and then the client came back to me and they were like, hey, that was really cool what you did. You know, all you had to do was just say, sorry, I'm not available, but you didn't. You passed it along to someone, and they were an amazing recommendation, and I really appreciate it. We have another event coming up, and I would like to book you for that one, right? So being professional and helping the client out, even if you know that you're not going to get the gig, is preferable. That way you know, number one, you're keeping the client happy. Number two, you're keeping that money within your circle of friends. And then number three, when your friend books the show, you are going to still make some money off of it because they're going to give you a little kickback for your referral. That way it's not a total loss for you, and you're not going to stress out about having to throw away that other gig or whatever. I hope that answers your question. All right, so this next question comes from Mike Moore. It's a bit of a long one. I'm going to try to fit as much of it on the screen as I can here. If you guys would like to read the full comment and my response, I recommend checking out the Q&A post right here on the community tab. If you click on the community tab and scroll down a little ways, you will find it. It looks like a chalkboard with chalk letters that say Q&A on it. You can read the comments there. A lot of people have been leaving questions on that Q&A board. I recommend you guys check that out if you'd like to see some more awesome questions that I have answered. And again, if you want to see some more of these Q&As, check out the other Q&As that I did right here in the Advice for Magicians playlist as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at this question. Mike Morris says, I started learning magic again about 2 years ago. Did it a bit when I was younger, then gambling stuff in high school, college, Monty, and his friends. Stopped to pursue comedy, acting, etc. Much older now, picked it up for fun and hopefully to get back to making people smile. However, 6 months ago, I hit a wall. I simply could not find a direction in my magic and was just buying a lot of product and downloads. Aren't all of us? So I stopped. My dilemma, and maybe your advice helps. I'm having a hard time starting it again as I don't know where to start down that path again. Cards, mental magic, packets, gambling. Ugh. Any suggestions on how to narrow down the genre to start building an act of sorts? I know it's more of a personal journey, however, I'm having a hard time picking the path, and sitting on my couch is getting me nowhere. This is something that I struggled with for the longest time. Going out, buying tricks, learning the trick, and then, I don't really like this too much. It doesn't suit my personality. I can't fit it in anywhere. I don't know if I'm ever going to use this. And then it got tucked away in that, that junk magic drawer that we all have in our house that's probably piling up full of stuff now that we've opened, looked at the instructions, never bothered to learn, and then stuck it away. So trust me, I completely get it. my suggestion for you is not to think about what tricks should I go out and buy. My suggestion to you is to think about what things do you enjoy in life outside of magic, right? So for me personally, I love my family. I enjoy my Irish heritage. I'm a nerd, right? I love anime and like trading card games and video games and all of this stuff, right? So what I do is I take these different ideas and I inject them into my performance, because what that does is it makes something that's personal for you. So rather than being like, is this gambling thing going to be better, or maybe this thing, or maybe this thing, or maybe this thing, you can tell yourself, what ideas can I come up with using things I either already know, or if I don't already know it, at the very least you have an idea of what kinds of things that you're passionate about, and then you can find magic tricks that would relate to those. So for example, I really like Among Us, that little game where you walk around and you figure out who the imposter is that's killing everybody, right? So what I did was I laid a theme on the 8-card brainwave using the Among Us characters. I had these special cards made. Rather than being red and blue on the back, they say imposter or crewmate on the back, right? So I didn't really have to do anything crazy. I just took a trick that was already there and already developed, and I just rethemed it. I put this, Among Us spin onto it. So you can do stuff like that. You can take tricks that you already know and you can kind of retheme them, right? Now, if you are a gambler, it might be a cool idea to put together a sort of pseudo gambling demonstration, right? And the gambling demonstration doesn't have to be legit. It can be a magic trick disguised as a gambling demonstration, right? So maybe you do some mucking techniques where you show how you can switch the cards out, and then you go on to, do a couple of false shuffles and then deal the cards, and you make it look like you're switching them. Really, you're not, right? And you can say, look, now I have, let's just say we were playing a game of Hold'em. Now I have 2 aces. There's 2 aces, showing, and everyone that I just dealt to doesn't have anything, right? So you can do something like that, for example. Another thing that I did is I love Nintendo, so I have my old school NES console, and I thought, what can I do with this, right? So I got some Nintendo trading cards, and I built a tossed out deck out of those. And I do a trick with those, and then I use the console and like a power glove, like a Nintendo power glove in the performance and everything. At its core, all it is a tossed out deck routine. We've all seen that trick a million times, but it's something that I love to perform because it's something that means something to me. I did a video, I'll try to see if I can remember to leave a link in the description for you guys. It's called Creative Thought Experiment. I recommend watching that video because it's going to help you guys to learn better how to do what I'm explaining to you right now in a little bit more detail. That way you guys can actually go out and you can start trying to put together these acts using things that you're really passionate about. Like I said, I'm very passionate about like my Irish heritage, for example. So like I do a Guinness bottle production out of the newsboy hat, or I do something with my ring, right? Because I love my wife, I love my family, so I do some ring magic and I mention my family when I'm performing that. So there's a bunch of different things that you guys can do. It's up to you to get creative, but trust me, I feel the pain of not having a sense of direction and buying all this magic and it all either going in the bin or getting shoved in a closet somewhere because you're just buying random tricks rather than buying the tricks that you know will go into your act. But if you don't know what your act is yet, you're not going to know what tricks to put into your act. So what I recommend is doing just what I explained in this video. Go watch that thought experiment video, come up with some ideas, and then see what tricks you already know or tricks that you could find on the market that you can use with those ideas. All right, so for the next question, this is from Weston Ding. He says, thanks for all the amazing advice. Thank you, Weston. I appreciate that. Do you have any advice regarding how to create something when you lack the means of producing it? So, if you don't know how to produce something, that is completely fine. What you need to do is find someone that knows how to produce the thing that you want to have produced, right? So, let's just say your product needs to be made out of some kind of metal or something. What you need to do is you need to find a manufacturer that works with metal that can build the thing that you want. Now, before you do that, I recommend actually, even if it's just on a cocktail napkin, doing a rough drawing of what exactly it is that you need done maybe bringing in some friends or fellow magicians to consult with you on it if you have any questions about designing it or whatever, so that you know exactly what needs to be built. And then, if possible, having a professional that knows how to build schematics or blueprints actually make you a schematic or a blueprint that you can hand. I mean, depending on how complex it is. Of course, if it's simple, maybe you don't need to do that. If it's more on the complex side, right, you can have that blueprint or schematic handed over to the professional that you need to have the thing made from. That way they know exactly what it is that they need to build to the exact specifications that you need it, the size, the weight, the shape, the height, all that stuff. The really cool thing is these days, a lot of this stuff can actually be done on a 3D printer. So you don't even really need to go to like a manufacturer to have it made. A lot of stuff you can actually make out of plastic these days. I actually made my switcheroo deck holdouts for a little while out of 3D printed plastic just to see how it would go. I ended up not liking it too much, so I made them out of leather. So I went to someone that I know that makes leather. I don't know how to make anything out of leather, right? I've never cut and sewn leather before, but I know someone that does leather work that makes all of my props for me that I need made out of leather. He's made my chop cup, he's made my card case, he's made my switcheroo gimmick, he's made my linking ring bag, he's made all that stuff for me. So like I have a person that does that. So that's what you need to do. You need to find someone in the field that manufactures the thing that you need done, right? And then you need to have the thing designed, and then you need to give that design to the manufacturer so that you can have them build it to your specifications. For example, Matthew Garrett, really good friend of mine, you might know him from his work with the Chinese linking rings. He's the creator of Ninja Plus. He comes up with all these crazy linking ring ideas, right? Like having a steel ball welded onto like a linking ring. He didn't build that stuff himself. What he did was he took it to a manufacturer that works with metal and had them, build the mold and come up with, they did some prototypes and all that stuff, right? Now, a lot of money might go into this. So this is something that specifically you want to put out on the market. Another great idea is to partner with a magic company. So if you don't feel like you can do this yourself, at the very least, try to have a mock-up prototype made, and then you can pitch it to these magic companies, to Penguin, Illusionist, Theory 11, whatever magic companies you can. And if they think that it's something that it's worth picking up, they might actually take over the manufacturing of that item for you so that you don't have to do that. Now, of course, you might not make as much money off of it, but you're not going to be paying for any of the upfront costs, the design, any of that stuff. They can do all that stuff for you. So there's a few different ways around this. You just got to kind of get creative. You have to talk to people, right? And you have to do a lot of research. All right, and the last one comes from Kevin Early. Thank you, Kevin, for asking another amazing question. You've asked such wonderful questions. Kevin is one of those people that's like commenting on all of my videos and asking like 10 or 11 questions a week, it feels like. Please keep doing that. I love these questions. If I'm not helping you, at the very least, I'm getting my own brain going and I'm thinking about these things myself. But I am doing my best to answer these questions for you guys. Like I said, if you have not already done so, please leave a comment either on this video, or you can go check out that Q&A post in the community tab, or you can leave questions or comments on any of my videos. And like I said, I'll do my best to answer them. If one stands out to me, I'm making a note about that question, and then I'm going to try to do a Q&A video like this answering it. So let's take a look at this last question from Kevin. He says, Mike, one final post. I'm interested in doing some charity work in places like the Children's Ward or something like that. Do you might have an insight on the following? How to get into such things? Also, are these kinds of things even a real thing? I've only seen this kind of thing in like movies or TV shows, but it sounds like a good thing to do. Yes, you can definitely do this. I recommend looking into charity organizing events. You have like your St. Jude's Children's Hospital. You have different charity events that do specifically children, stuff, people like feeding the needy, or underprivileged kids that are like in underprivileged communities, or maybe, like I said, children with terminal illnesses and stuff like that that are in specific hospitals. You can even reach out to your own hospital that's in your area. Now, I'm going to put a caveat on all of this. I'm going to say most places are probably not going to let you do any magic right now because of COVID. it's already bad enough that children are sick. They don't want people that, they're trying to social distance these people as much as possible. They don't want outsiders coming in and spreading COVID in their hospitals, right? So right now, I would say this is probably not really going to be realistic. But in the future, at some point, whenever the virus is completely under control, definitely reach out to these places. I've done magic for St. Jude's Children's Hospital in the past. I've donated my time. I've done walk around for their charity events and for their fundraisers. I've done events for like autism awareness. I've done like community nights where like the parents are involved. So it's like a parent-child thing for like, people with autism and things like this. So there's a lot of really cool charity events out there you can do magic for, and they're always looking for entertainers that are willing to donate their time. So definitely look into this. It's definitely a thing, and good luck with this. I would love to hear or even see pictures or video footage, if you're able to get any, of you doing a magic performance for any of these types of events in the future. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already done so, make sure to click the subscribe button and don't forget to ring the bell. That way you'll know every time I upload a new video. If you'd like to check out some more magic, visit us at o'brienmagic.com and be sure to check out our online magic shop, where you will find the latest and greatest magic books, downloads, and accessories.